Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Green Knight Fighter subclass in Baldur's Gate 3. This is somewhat of a druid version like the Eldritch Knight, but this is the Green Knight, so I'll be taking you through a full build for this, and it does use Wisdom as a spellcasting stat. So that means we don't have a helmet that we can use similar to the Eldritch Knight itself. But first off, we'll be taking the defense passive feature here for the fighting style. And for our ability scores, we're going to go with the 16 dexterity. I think this works best as a dexterity based build. 14 constitution, 10 intelligence, 16 wisdom, and 10 charisma. So this is important because we do have some spells. I'll also do this at level 20, but you don't have to do the level 20. If you just prefer level 12, I'll also be talking about that as well. So we'll be going through the full build here as well as gear and showing off the combat. Into level 2, you get action surge. It's a powerful ability. Level 3, however, this is when we get to pick our subclass. The Green Knight, a warrior from the deep wilds. You've learned secret techniques and abilities from an ancient forest, dwelling spirits, and beings. Gives us a subclass feature, Grasp of the Forest. Your weapon attacks can entangle the target. That's really cool. I think this is a fun ability. You also get to choose cantrips from the druid spell list. I think Thorn Whip's nice because if you can't make it towards a target, sometimes this is going to be a way to pull them towards you. Shillelagh is nice for early game damage because you can use Shillelagh on a torch and it's going to give you that extra 1d4 of fire damage in addition to this giving it the 4 to 11 bludgeoning damage. This will use Wisdom as our spellcasting or weapon attack rolls, so that's something to keep in mind. Guidance is also nice, or to produce flame or poison spray here. I'll also go poison spray for thematic purposes. And for spells that we can take, Long Strider is always a good choice, but I think Thunderwave is a little bit better here because the pushback sometimes can be a game winner for you if you push enemies off of cliffs. Fog Cloud's also nice too, and even the Healing Word spell there for a little bit extra bonus action healing. At level 4, we get another choice in spell. Create or Destroy Water is also nice if you have a Storm Sorcerer on your team that needs to set up their lightning. That's one way to do it. And Ice Knife, I guess, too, if you want to have some spell casting if you get silenced. I think a Long Strider ends up being the best choice, though. And we're going to take an ability score improvement. I think Dexterity increase is going to be the best, although you can go with and increase your Wisdom if you want. Or take the Alert feat. That's never a bad idea. At level 5, Extra Attack. It's a Power Spike, very powerful. Level 6, we get another feat here, and this is you could take Alert, or we can actually max our Dexterity at this point, or you can take the Hag's Hair and max your Dexterity or Wisdom. Level 7, we get ourselves in Nature's Fury. You call upon the power of the wild to increase your strength by 2 and possibly make nearby creatures fearful. So this is pretty nice. I still think that Dexterity is the best choice for us, but this can make nearby enemies fearful, and that's a really big benefit of this. So, bonus action Fear. And then we also get access to level 2 spells, some of the best ones being Spike Growth, Moonbeam, Hold Person. Hold Person is really good because you can critically hit a target that's held. Moonbeam's cool too if you use Sanctuary on your target, but it's better to use as a cleric, druid cleric and a druid together. I think the best choice is Hold Person, but Spike Growth is another good choice too if you want to go with that. And even the Healing Word, as I mentioned previously. So there's actually quite a few good spells in the druid spell list. At level 8, we get to take another spell here. I think it's nice to go back and take Healing Word because we do have our second wind, but having this to be able to pick up downed allies is really nice. And for our next feat, I think the Alert feat at this point, level 8, getting that +5 to initiative. If we go first, we can set up and entangle people, and it's pretty good. Level 9, we get the Indomitable. We fail a saving throw, we re-roll that saving throw. Level 10 gives us the Nature Step, alter the terrain around you, allowing nearby allies to travel with ease. You and your allies are not affected by difficult terrain and cannot be restrained or paralyzed and gain resistance to poison damage. That's really nice. Kind of similar to if you have the Woodland Being, they give you a benefit similar to that. At next level, we'll take Produce Flame. You can produce a flame and throw it at the same time and create a explosion if you need it. And for our next level, the 2 spell, Moonbeam can be alright. Even Flame Blade's not a bad choice because you can do fire damage with this. I think this actually makes sense for this build to actually use Flame Blade because the druid typically wouldn't make a big benefit out of it. Level 11, we get an improved extra attack. Now, another attack is always great. Flaming Sphere can be another good choice if you want to have a concentration because this can give you basically a summon. Fairy Fire's decent. Good Berry can give you some healing. I think Create or Destroy Water actually nice. If you have someone on your team that has lightning or cold spells, you can double their damage. Next level, increase to our, we can get ability score increase. We can also go with the Savage Attacker, rerolling our damage die. You can also go with the, if you want to be more of a bow attacker, you can use Crossbow Expert and do close range crossbow attacks if you want to use like the Ballist Armor. But I think we'll take up our Wisdom here, just give ourselves a nice spell casting. And then at level 13, we get Indomitable 2. We get another version of Indomitable, and we get level 3 spells now. Plant Growth being a really good one. Sleet Storm, another very useful one. Call Lightning is good, but we're better off attacking if I'm being honest. And we want to use these for either crowd control, plant growth that doesn't require concentration, and Sleet Storm, which can stop concentrations of enemy spellcasters, which is extremely effective to have. Into level 14, we get to take another spell here. Protection from energy is okay too if you want to be able to give resistance to a damage type. If you want to be stealthy, Pass Without Trace is actually pretty good. I actually might take that just because it's nice to have that extra invisibility or stealth ability there if you wanted to get away from somebody. We can take our feat and increase to wisdom there, or we can go with the option of Savage Attack, as I mentioned, to reroll your damage die. I'm just going to go with this to max out our wisdom. It's not a bad thing to have for wisdom saves as well. Level 15, you get the regeneration. The Woodwoden regains 10 health points if it walks through a vine surface. So this is, they mentioned in the mod, it does use dialogue from other classes, so this basically just gives you 10 health if you go on a vine surface, which is really nice, unless you take fire damage. Level 16, we get another cantrip. Guidance, I guess we could take guidance earlier. It's not a bad idea to have Ice Knife if you get silenced and you have no other option. You could go with that. Entangle's another not bad spell, creating a vine surface to entangle targets. And then for our feat, at this point, Savage Attacker is probably the best choice. You could go with the Sharpshooter and then Crossbow Expert if you want to do close range damage. Would be pretty powerful. But the Savage Attacker is nice. It's going to flat out increase our overall damage. So that's not bad. At level 17, we get Indomitable 3, re-rolling our damage die once again. We don't really have any spells that are super necessary to take, so Fog Cloud or even Gust of Wind can be okay. And then once we hit level 18 here, you just get extra health. And level 19, we get ourselves a level 5 or 4 spell here with Blight, Confusion, Minor Elemental. I think the Woodland Being is the best choice at this level, and Ice Storm. Grasping Vine is also a nice one, and so is Wall of Fire. Like the best ones would be Confusion, Minor Elemental, Woodland Being, Wall of Fire, or Ice Storm. Ice Storm is setting up crowd control, really good. And for this next feat, I think we'll take the Tough feat for increasing our maximum health points by 2 for every level that we've gained. Those extra 40 health. It's pretty crazy. You could also go with the Lucky feat if you wanted to, or the ones I mentioned previously if you prefer using crossbows. And level 20 gives us the extra attack, and we get to pick one more of the spells here. Wall of Fire can be actually pretty good because you can set up ice and then have a Wall of Fire for further crowd control, and you can line up enemies the way you want them to go. Minor Elemental is always a good choice, and so is Confusion. So you can take which one of these you prefer between Confusion, Wall of Fire. Grasping Vine as a bonus action is decent as well, or Minor Elemental. My top 2 would be the Confusion or Wall of Fire spells, so we'll go with that there. Since we have the Woodland Being to hold our concentrations, we don't have to worry too much. Now, you can see we have the aura similar to the Woodland Being there. My recommendation is we only have 2 level 4 spell slots, but we have a lot of spells that we want to cast. So you can take another staff and give it yourselves the Arcane Battery, which then allows you to summon in like the Woodland Being here without having to expend your own spell slots. So we keep our level 4 one. The Woodland Being also has their Fallen Lover, so don't forget to bring that in there. This is great because she holds our concentration on Spike Growth. We can hold our concentration on Wall of Fire or something similar. And then if you want to summon in, if you want to use another spell, I guess, if you had the Minor Elemental, there is another staff that you can take. But I do think that the best weapon here is the Fowler Alluve weapon. This is extremely powerful because we can use the Shrieking Song to set up extra damage on the target. I also want the Arcane Diadem of Arcane Synergy. Whenever you apply a condition, you gain Arcane Synergy for 2 rounds, which will add our Wisdom modifier to our damage rolls, which is really nice to have. Other choices, early game, you can go with the Haste Helmet to increase your movement speed. And the Helmet of Arcane Acuity also is a nice option too. Mask of Soul Perception if you're later on in the game. And Scrabby Pugilist Circlet. Since we're a fighter, we get into the nitty gritty of fighting, so that's nice too. So those are a few different options. The Cloak of Protection for better armor class. Through the Dark Urge, take Deathstalker Mantle. The Armor of Agility, add your full dexterity modifier. That gives us a 29 AC, which is honestly really good. We're not going to get hit often. Now, I have the Legacy of the Masters on, get a +2 bonus to attack and damage roll with weapons. This is just flat out a damage increase. Early on in the game, you can use the Gloves of Dexterity and build around Strength if you wanted to. Gloves of Belligerent Skies works really well too. The Gauntlets of Surging Accuracy will give you a bonus to your attack rolls after you use Action Surge, which could be pretty nice too. And if you want an armor class, you can go with the Wondrous Gloves, because this will set your armor class up to 30. So a few different great options there. Obviously, Helpless Gloves are good too. We also got Evasive Shoes for +1 armor class. You can also go with the Boots of Stormy Calamity there, which are pretty useful too, because if you can snare a target, they get reverberation stacks. Then we also got the Amulet of Greater Health, but you can use really whatever amulet you prefer here. We do have benefits of using spells. So the Spell Savant Amulet perioperative wound closure, you'll basically never die. So a lot of great options there. Mostly using Ring of Elemental Infusion. Whenever you use Acid, Cold, Thunder, or Lightning damage as a spell or cantrip, it'll infuse our weapon. You don't have to use this though. It is a good weapon choice, or it is a good choice. We can also go with something like the Strange Conduit Ring, which will add a 1d4 of psychic damage when we concentrate on a spell. So that's really good too. The Caustic Band will flat out increase our damage by 2, so that can be nice, and it feels thematic as it's a green color. You can think of it as nature damage. And then we also have the Callous Glow Ring if you have a team that lights up the enemy. And the Killer Sweetheart's always a good choice too, but this is nice for the extra damage. Ring of Protection for +1 armor class. I have the Hell Rider Longbow on for the +3 to initiative, and it applies Fairy Fire on targets. Now you can also go with the Gaunter Mail if you want to give yourself haste. This is probably the best choice for this class. It is a legendary bow, obviously, so that's something to keep in mind. And if you use strength potions, the Titan String Bow would be the best in slot. So only if you use strength potions, because I did put our strength lower, but I have a strength potion active to show the max amount of damage that we can do with this. Your weapons is your personal preference, but I like the Fowler Alluve there. That just works well. Early game, the Knife of the Undermountain King is probably the best choice. And yeah, you can even use things like Nirolna because you can throw it. Also, we got Viconia's Walking Fortress, best shield in the game. So I'll show you what this looks like if we were to get into combat. And before we get into a fight, we can also use another staff with the Arcane Battery to give ourselves a free Flame Blade upgrade. So this we can cast up. It doesn't get too high, but this weapon looks cool, and your character always holds the Flame Blade out, which is kind of nice, so you have your shield active. And this will do a 46 of fire damage, so yeah, it's pretty strong. On our first turn of combat, we want to set up our crowd control with whatever means possible, so whether that be an Ice Storm if you can hit a large group of enemies, or a Wall of Fire, because this is a very good option as well. Or you can even do somewhat of a mixture of the two if you wanted to, so you can create this to just set up the difficult terrain, and then you can run with a Wall of Fire here, because yeah, they're gonna have to run through you either way. Or you can go around attacking. Now you got to be mindful of your movement here because ice will cause you to slip. So what we can do is actually go after some of the other targets that are in and outside of the difficult terrain. Another nice option is we can also use Arrow Many Targets here to just spread either the Guiding Bolt or add the extra. This one adds Guiding Bolt, or we can add Fairy Fire to attacks with the other one. You can see there, it's nice because we are able to ensnare targets with our range attacks as well. So that's not a bad idea in all honesty if you wanted to set up with just an attack like this, and then you can also apply crits to multiple targets in a row and entangle them. So that's really what this is all about, is applying the crowd control whenever possible. And then we also can go in and attack with our Flame Blade as well, and it does pretty good damage. You can see 14, 8, and 2. Nice. And then we'll go finish this target off with our last attack there, or miss, and then use Action Surge because yeah, we're not missing. And then we can go ahead, we do an advantage on attack rolls there, putting on with the Flame Blade. It doesn't do a massive amount of damage, but it looks cool, so that's what we're rolling with. But when you get 4 attacks, it obviously becomes pretty strong, and I have haste in my character right now just to showcase the build a little bit better. And then for our final action, what we can do is a Arrow Many Targets on this target there, and let that spread around, entangling that one, which is kind of funny. And I guess we still have another action to go with, so maybe, yeah, I'll use this here. This can apply that extra fearful. It's not gonna happen on here, but I just wanted to show it there anyway. And I guess for our last attack, we'll just do another arrow to hit multiple targets there, possibly ensnaring more of them, which is nice, or finishing them off. Yeah, it's pretty strong. We also have the Rage appearance whenever we use the Nature's Fury, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Owlbear Rage, strength increased by 2 and constitution by 2, 12 temporary health. Arcane Synergy as well, adding our spellcasting modifier to our damage. That's really nice. And then also haste and action surge, so you got a lot going on there. And that target there is stuck in his place, so he can't do anything. Even though he's on ice, it was probably best to not crowd control him. But we also have our Woodland Being and Woodwoad here to, if we want to further entangle someone, we can just set that up. And then our character will heal themselves for standing on the Vine Surfaces if they're out of health. And we aren't affected by it, so we don't get slowed down. No difficult terrain for us. We have lots of great crowd control spells, but we also have some damaging ones here, so we can even just go with a Wall of Fire here to just finish things off and burn off the ground there. So yeah, the Green Knight is pretty strong. This is obviously at level 20, so it's quite powerful, but it's similar to the Eldritch Knight. I wouldn't say it's as good as the Eldritch Knight. I think the Eldritch Knight got a really big buff with patch 8, but this is cool. If you like the Druid and you wanted a Druid fighter subclass, this is very well done. So this mod again is made by WyldsongXXL. They've done a great job with it. I've also done a build on their Wild Heart here, so if you want to check that out as well. Great job on these mods, and yeah, this is a cool new flavor of the fighter. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.